Go.
Alright, so we're going to round the bottom of the ball to make this rounded, to make sure we're not trapping air under there. And splat it in the middle, and if you need to move it, you can just scoot it a little bit instead of picking it up. And now we're going to get both hands all wet, and wet the lump of clay, and we're going to use our left hand braced on our leg to help start centering the clay, starting down here and making that cone shape. And we can use our other hand to help. Okay, now if it gets dry, get some more clay, get some more water, make sure it's watered, and I feel it to make sure it's watered. Clean off down there at the base, and now we can press down. We're going to keep pressure in with our left hand and down with our right. And the whole point of this is to center the clay on the wheel. Okay. We're going to get it centered on the wheel. Now we're going to open the ball of clay in the form of a V. So I lay my finger across the center and let it draw it down as I push it down. And now we're going to check the depth with the needle. You want 1/4 of an inch, and we're at about 1/2. So we're going down. You can see I'm using 2 hands together. And now we'll check that bottom again. Pinch the needle. Alright, that's a little thin. So we'll just make sure we don't go down anymore, and we can actually press some clay down toward the bottom from the side of the V there to make it thicker. Alright, so now we're going to, I pressed my thumb sideways, horizontally, straight across to make the width. Now we're going to compress the bottom to prevent any cracks. Press the bottom. So it's not necessarily a fast motion, but you want to move some material on the bottom. So if there's a high place and your finger rides up on the high place, and I'm using 3 fingers together in both hands, when it gets on top of a high place, just stay there until it presses the clay down. Okay, so now we've got our width set. Now we're going to wet the outside ring and collar that ring in. And make sure it's watered. And now we're going to make sure there is material above our fingertips, and we'll squeeze in a little and raise that material up. So you can use your knuckle or your fingertips. We'll use our knuckle. So I'm going to press my knuckle in, and you'll see my thumb is out back here for support. And we're going to slow that wheel down and raise that material up and release our tension toward the top. And then we're going to compress the rim. Left hand index finger on the inside, thumb on the outside, and use your right index finger to compress the rim. So we kind of gently let it glide through our left hand and compress it with that right index finger. And you see how I move my fingers around. You actually have to move the clay to accomplish anything. Now I'm going to re-water that, and I'm going to press out from the inside and raise that material up. And trying to get that about 1/4 of an inch of thickness. Okay. Now I'm going to run the rib up the outside to help to press those clay particles. Okay. Now I'm going to collar that rim in just a little bit so we can give it some shape. Shape it from the inside, pressing out gently. And wherever you get to your apex, the widest point, hold right there and let it go around several revolutions. And follow through on up. And I'm going to turn the rim out just a little bit. And there is a crock. Dry it off with a sponge. cut under it with a wire.
Nice.